On today's show, we explore what Taylor Swift's Eras Tour can teach us about dreaming bigger, living bolder, embracing joy, and creating a life that feels less meh and more main character montage. So, grab your red lipstick, slip on something sparkly, and silence your inner critic, because it's time to Movify your life, Taylor style. Welcome to the Movify Your Life show, the plot twist you've been waiting for. I'm your host, Jessica Grace Coleman, and through the Movify Your Life method, I'll show you how to step into the starring role of your story and create a life worth watching. Every Movify Monday, you'll learn how to turn everyday moments into unforgettable memories, activate your main character energy, and use cinematic tools to boldly chase your biggest dreams, like the movie star you truly are. Because when the credits roll, I want you to look back at your life like it's the greatest film ever made, full of meaning, magic, and most importantly, zero regrets. And because I truly believe everyone deserves to live an epic life fit for the big screen. So grab your popcorn, cue the music, and together, let's Movify your life.
The Movify Your Life show begins. Lift your spirit, let joy rush in. Feel the magic, hear the roar. Step on stage and ask for more.
Hello and welcome to the Movify Your Life show. I'm your host, Jessica Grace Coleman, and today we're talking about Taylor Swift. Now, I want to start by saying I'm not like a huge, massive Swiftie. I don't know every single song. I've never seen her live. I'm not obsessed, but I think I'm getting into Swiftie territory. So this is based on her Eras tour. I think it's a UK-US thing. Eras, we say it different ways. So I'm just going to see how it pops out my mouth when I'm talking about it. So I've watched it on Disney+. I did not go. I wish I could have gone. It looks amazing. And I watched that. And then over Christmas, I also watched the 6-part documentary series on the tour that Disney+ put out. And I was so inspired after watching that I knew I had to do a podcast episode about it, because I think Taylor Swift, what she's achieved, and in particular the Eras tour, is very movified. Like, it's all big, bold, colourful, exciting, epic, all the stuff I talk about in Movify Your Life and all the things I think our lives should be. So it really does go well with the whole Movify Your Life ethos. So I just want to start by saying we're not going to have any negative Nellies or moaning Michaels here. I know a lot of people think that billionaires shouldn't exist. Taylor Swift is a billionaire. She has been working her ass off since she was like a child, literally, to get to where she is today. And I think she deserves every penny she's made. And she's very generous with her money. So if anyone thinks, oh, I'm not going to take advice from like a billionaire or like from someone like talking about a billionaire, then you can just turn this episode off, because we don't want any negativity here. We want to celebrate Taylor and people like her, because she is the kind of person who goes after her dreams, and the world needs more of that. And that is exactly what Movify Your Life is all about. So I just wanted to point that out there. Let's have no moaning or bitching about billionaires. Okay. So watching the tour and then watching the documentary made me feel all the feels. Like, that documentary will have you crying every episode. It's obviously about the tour itself, but it's also about the people who made the tour happen, like the singers, the dancers, the crew. And it dives into like some of their stories as well. And it talks about some of the horrible things that happened during the tour. Like, there were terrorist threats. They had to stop some of the ones in Vienna, I believe, had to stop those shows from going ahead. There was this horrible, horrible incident with in the UK with like a little kid's dance party, Taylor Swift dance party. Someone went in and killed a few little girls, and she talks about that and like some really horrible stuff and things I don't even know how she deals with these kind of things, being in the spotlight as much as she is and having all these terrible things happen. So there was that kind of stuff. But then obviously there was all the joyous stuff, all the hard work, all the like logistical stuff, but then also just like pure joy that she brings to all these people. And I think over 10 million people attended that tour. I think it's the highest grossing live tour ever. Just the scope of it is insane. The way it brought people together is amazing. And I watched that documentary and I felt inspired, energized, like motivated, totes emotion, and also a little bit like, oh yeah, I am playing so small. And I'm not saying we should all compare ourselves to like ridiculously, amazingly successful people like Taylor Swift, because that way lies madness. We don't want to compare our lives to them, but I think we really can use people like this and their lives and the things they've created, like all the albums and the tours and everything, and the community she's created, and use that as inspiration for our own lives and to go after our own big, bold dreams. And those dreams don't have to be becoming a pop star. But if it is, then go for it. So yeah, it's not about becoming a singer, songwriter, pop star particularly. It's about what happens when a human dares to want more and actually goes for it. If you've seen any documentaries about Taylor Swift, you'll have seen all the grainy video footage from when she was a kid, going and singing on any stage she could get, like any stage in school or like local fairs, anywhere they could get her to sing, she would go. And she always made time for her fans and all that stuff. And you can see after decades of doing that, you know how she's got to where she is now. But it's really, really inspiring, I think. So I wanted to go through a few things. I've sort of split it up into a few little categories that came to mind while I was watching both the show and the documentary. Like I say, it's on Disney Plus. If you don't have a membership, I highly recommend getting one, even if it's just for a month, to watch the Eras tour. I think there's 2 full concerts, like concert videos on there. One from like earlier on in the Eras tour and one from the last show. And she recorded and released a whole other album during this tour. So the last show includes a whole extra bit that was from the Tortured Poets Department album, which came out during that tour. And it's like 3.5 hours long. It's ridiculous. The amount of like training she had to do, physically training, so she had the energy to do this. Because it's like walking up and down. I think she said she walks up and down like 10 miles or something during each show. There's dancing, there's singing live, there's choreography, there's costume changes in like a minute. It's a lot. So very, very impressive. So the first thing I want to talk about is costume, sparkle and self-expression, because this concert is a joy to watch. Her costumes alone are like bold, sparkly, colourful, theatrical. Every era, so every album that she does songs from has its own aesthetic, mood, energy, has its own like graphics, its own choreography, its own vibe. And a lot of it is just like an explosion of colour and sparkle and visual flair. And I think the lesson here is to just express yourself however you want in terms of your clothes, your accessories, your hair, like whatever you want to do. Like how often do we save like the sparkly dress for a special occasion? How often do we dull ourselves down just to fit in? How often do you want to wear that bold red lipstick, but then you think, oh no, people will look at me and think I'm a show off, so I'm just not going to do it. How often do we dress, live and show up in a way that feels safe, but like just not fun at all? So I think Movifying your life means doing what they did in this tour, which is choose colour, choose fun, choose expression, let your outer world reflect your inner one. And you don't need a stadium tour to do this. Like I say, just wear the bold outfit, romanticize the ordinary, add theatre and flair to your days, and just be a bit extra, because why not? Life is short. Your life is the movie. Dress accordingly. The second thing I want to talk about, which I mentioned a little bit, was creating community and superfans. So when you watch this concert, you don't just watch what's on the stage. They show so many people in the crowd having amazing times, like during the show, like literally crying and hugging each other, making friends. There was this whole thing with friendship bracelets. I think there's a line in one of the songs. Like I say, I'm not a proper Swiftie, so I don't really know the origin about friendship bracelets, and people started making them and handing them out to people, other fans in the crowd, and that became a thing all over the world. And people were just like making friends everywhere. And I liked the line, a lot of people have said like this tour has changed my life, which may sound exaggerated and hyperbolic, but they were making lifelong friends at these things, like friends who have the exact same interests as them. And I can attest, like with the people I've met traveling, it really can change your life, just making friends with people and feeling like you're part of a community and that you're part of this thing where everyone loves this person or these lyrics or these songs. It can really change your life. So I don't think it is exaggerated. So yeah, the tour wasn't just about Taylor, it was about community, the fans, the shared language, the bracelets, pure collective joy that emanates from all these people who went to see her. And it's not accidental, it's cultivated. Like Taylor spends time talking to her fans, meeting them, just creating this worldwide community that can spread across the whole globe but feel really small. And I think the lesson here is that a big life isn't a solo act. Taylor creates belonging and community. She makes people feel seen and she invites people into her story, which you can do in your daily life as well. So you could ask yourself, where are you building community in your life? Who are your people? Who are you letting in? And I think movifying your life means creating connection, sharing experiences, and just knowing you're part of a community. A cinematic life is richer when it's shared. The next thing I want to talk about is the magic of participation. So this is the friendship bracelets I mentioned, where even though there may be like 70,000 people, or I don't know how many people were in these stadiums, and Taylor and her gang on the stage, the audience really do become part of the show. The friendship bracelets, they weren't a marketing strategy. As far as I know, nothing that Taylor came up with herself or her team. They were born from the fans and embraced wholeheartedly. And it's like connection without agenda. It wasn't networking or anything like that. It was just making friends for the sake of joy. So I think the lesson here is that magic multiplies when you invite participation. And if you can do that in any part of your life, then that is a great thing. Life isn't meant to be passively consumed. You don't just watch, you take part. And you could do this by starting traditions within your family or friend group, creating rituals, creating community yourself. If you can't find a group that you want to join, create one, create a meetup, meetup.com. And it can just be something like saying yes to silliness. Some things just get to be fun. Not everything has to be productive. And the next thing I want to talk about is radical inclusivity. So they do talk about this in the documentary, but even before I watched that, when I was watching the show, I thought, this is amazing. Like all the dancers and the singers, they're so diverse in their like ethnicity, their sexuality, their size, their style. Like Taylor's known for being very inclusive in general. And it's very, very obvious when you see all the people she has working alongside her. And I think the lesson here is that your life gets bigger when you stop policing who's allowed in it, including you. So like just be yourself, express yourself however you want. How often do you think you need to be more polished before you can go and do the thing? Or confident or more successful or more acceptable? Or you think you need to lose the weight to look slimmer, to fit in? Or you think you need to change something about yourself where really you just need to be yourself and people will really respond to that. So in terms of Movify your life, this means letting yourself be fully seen. If you can, creating spaces where others feel safe to do the same, and sort of ditching the idea that there's only one right way to be, to look, to do things. And I think that's really, really important in life. And yeah, watch the documentary and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, movie star, real talk. Are you tired of feeling like a background extra in your own life? Then it's time to step into the spotlight and activate your main character era. And I've got just the thing to help you do it. Grab my free Movie Star Alter Ego Starter Kit, your behind-the-scenes pass to creating the bold, brave, action-taking version of you who goes after their dreams like the star of a blockbuster. Inside, you'll discover how to design your alter ego, choose your transformational item, pick your theme song, and build the rituals and confidence cues you need to start living your life like the epic movie it was meant to be. So, if you're ready to rewrite your script, roll camera, and finally take the lead, head to movifyyourlife.com/free to download your free starter kit now. That's movifyyourlife.com/free. Your next scene starts today. And now, let's get back to the action.
The next thing is joy, spectacle, and wonder. Like this is what being alive looks like, or at least what it should be. Like I say, all the colour, the joy, the sparkle, dancing, having fun, hugging, making friends. Like the Eras tour is just joyful. It's magical, it's spectacular. It's unapologetically extra, and I think we should all do that. We should stop trying to play small and just be extra. I think the lesson here is that joy isn't something that's frivolous. It's actually fuel. It's something we can use to go out there and have a big, epic life. And I talk about magical movie moments a lot in my content, and a lot of this applies. Like a lot of people who went to see the Eras tour, they say it changed their life. And I think I know what they mean, because it would have been an incredible memory that they know they will never, ever forget. And it's something that at the end of their life, when the credits roll, they will look back and they will remember that night because it was so magical and inclusive and glittery and sparkly and fun and joyous, and everyone was dancing and jumping up and down. I think at one Taylor show, everyone jumped up and down so much they created the equivalent of, on the scale it was, but the equivalent of an earthquake, which is insane. So Movify Your Life is all about creating incredible moments you'll never forget. And I think anyone who went to that tour will feel that way about the tour. This is the stuff you'll replay in your mind when the credits roll. So even though it may seem frivolous and it's just a pop star, it's just a gig, when you really think about it, this kind of stuff is the most important stuff because it's what you remember and it's what you look back on fondly. And I wanted to mention there's a little bit in every show. There's a bit where Taylor go to the end of the runway and there's a little kid there that someone has picked out the crowd. Like her team has gone around and picked out a kid who like knows all the words and looks like they're like a super fan. And Taylor sings to them for a bit, hugs them, high fives them, says hi basically, and then gives them the hat she's wearing. It's like a thing she did at every show. The tour is now over. But there was one little girl, I think she was telling her brother about it afterwards, that sort of just like you stopped her in her tracks because the girl was like looking around at all these, so many people in the crowd. Her favourite pop star in the world was like, you know, right next to her talking to her. All the glittery, shiny, colourful stuff going on, all the music, all the noise, everything. And she just looked at Taylor and said, "Is this real life?" And Taylor said she sort of paused and went, "You know, actually, I don't know." Because it was so incredible, such an incredible moment and tour and show that it didn't feel like real life. And we need things like that in our lives to make them, because something like that makes you feel like you're in a movie. If you're there, you're a little kid, Taylor's there, she's hugging you, giving you a high-fiving you, and all this crazy stuff is going on, you feel like you're in a movie. Like she movified those little kids' lives every night. And we need more of that. And we might not be able to get it on the grand scale as the Eras Tour every time we want to do something, but we can take inspiration from it and go and do big, bold things. And that brings me on to my next thing, which is the audacity to dream big. So wanting more is not a character flaw. That rhymes. Taylor certainly didn't dream small. She started dreaming big from the age of whenever it was she first picked up a guitar. Like, I think there was a video of her playing piano as a little kid with her her nan in the documentary. Like, she started pretty much from birth. And she went to Nashville when she was like 11 or something because she had this huge dream and she knew she needed to go there to make it happen because she was a country singer back then. She didn't aim for comfortable. She wanted epic. And I think if you're listening to this, you might be able to relate to that. You want more out of life and you should want more and you should do it unapologetically. We're all allowed to want a big life because what's the point of playing small? What's the point of wanting a small life? It makes no sense. A bold life, a creative life, a meaningful life, and more importantly, a life that excites you. You don't need to justify that. You don't need to shrink to make others comfortable. Movifying your life starts with permission, and you can give yourself that permission. What if I let myself want more? And I think Taylor is the epitome of going after a big, bold life, so that's amazing. The next one is the work behind the magic. So as I said, this didn't happen by accident. She put in all the hours, all the years, all the decades. It's decades of effort. The Eras Tour itself, years putting stuff together. Obsessive attention to detail, all these different departments coming together to create something magical. Relentless practice and rehearsals. Showing up even when it was hard. Like during the documentary, she's got like a really bad cold at one point. She's still just like doing everything she needs to do to make the show the best it can possibly be. And I think the lesson here is something we all know. We can have big dreams and we need to work hard to get there. It won't just happen. You need to commit to that big, bold life and go after it every second, every chance you get. So movifying your life means putting in the effort, doing the unsexy bits, trusting the long game, and never giving up. Consistency, consistency, consistency. The good news is that hard work doesn't have to be horrible. Hard work, when you're working towards something incredible, can actually be really fun, especially if you do it in the movified way. And yeah, that's what I want to talk about really, but I sort of wanted to talk finally about when the credits roll. And I talk about this a lot, but when you get to the end of your life and you know the credits are going to roll at some point, maybe years ahead, but you know, you're looking back on your life. What kind of life do you want to look back on? So do you want something amazing and epic and wonderful and exciting and colourful and sparkly like the Eras Tour? Or would you rather look back and be like, you know what? I never left my comfort zone and that was fine. If you're listening to this, I'm guessing it won't be the latter. So yes, creating something like the Eras Tour takes immense work and decades of commitment. And yes, not everyone will become Taylor Swift, but everyone has one life. Everyone gets to decide how they live that life. And everyone has the opportunity to create magical moments, memories, joy, and meaning in their life. If you pursue what lights you up, if you keep going when it's hard, and if you refuse to settle for a half-lived life, you won't just watch something epic, like watching the Eras Tour on Disney+, you'll have lived it. And when the credits roll, you'll be so proud of the story you told. So that's it for this episode. I highly encourage you to go and watch both the actual concert and the 6-part documentary series on Disney+. This is not sponsored by Disney+, but that's just where it happens to be. no matter what you think about Taylor Swift, I think you cannot deny that she is an incredible powerhouse of a woman. She is very business minded. She knows what she wants and she goes and gets it. And she never, ever, ever plays small and never has. So I hope we can take inspiration from that, whether you're a Swiftie or not. Thank you for listening. Until next time, I'll see you on the red carpet.
Thank you so much for listening to the Movify Your Life show. Before you go, don't forget to sign up for the main character memo mailing list at movifyyourlife.com/list for exclusive tips, treats, and behind the scenes magic. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could please subscribe, leave a review, or share this podcast with a friend. Let's spread that Movify message far and wide because everyone deserves to live an epic life fit for the big screen. I'll see you next week for another Movify Monday. Until then, that's a wrap.